we'll be talking about Emacs. And as we all know, Emacs is the command line editor. And during our last session, we talked about a bit about command line editors, where we discussed a little bit about Vim and the syntax. So Vim, which is actually spelled VIM, and Emacs are two command line editors. Now, before we proceed, does anyone have their PC with them? Because we are going to be installing Emacs on our PC. If you have, please signify.
Yeah, I have mine with me.
Okay. All right, that's good. So we're going to be installing it, and of course, if you can't follow along, a recorded session of this video will be provided, and you're free to check it out and install it at your own convenience. So I'll be sharing my screen now so we see what we're talking about. We're going to be starting from scratch. All right. So first things first, I believe, is to get Emacs. Now, to install Emacs, we first need to have our hello? Okay, I thought someone was speaking. So to get Emacs, we first need to have a Linux distribution on our PC. Now, as you can see, I'm currently using Windows. So I've installed Ubuntu previously on my system. So this means that I can make use of a Linux distribution without actually having a Linux operating system. Now I have one called Bash. This is Git Bash. It is a Linux distribution software that can be used to access all Linux-based command and stuff like that. Now we have a Bash here, and also we have Ubuntu. Sorry about that. All right, and we have Ubuntu. To install, the steps in installing Ubuntu, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty straightforward actually. So we're trying to install Emacs. First, we need to turn on our Linux distribution software, either Ubuntu or whatever Linux software we are using. So for the sake of this session, we'll be using We'll be using Linux. We'll be using Ubuntu. All right. So while it loads, let's just wait for it to load. So while it's loading, let me ask this question: does everyone have a Linux operating system or a Linux package installed on their Windows or their Macs? Does everyone have it?
Yeah, I have Ubuntu OS on my.
No, I don't.
I'm trying to download the Ubuntu now.
No.
Okay.
I don't have.
Okay. Maxwell, are you with us now? Okay, so for those saying they're trying to download Ubuntu, do you know the steps in downloading Ubuntu to install it on your Windows? Okay, so basically just go to your CMD. Just go to CMD on Windows. Let me share my screen so you see it properly. Now, this is my Windows terminal currently. So you're going to run. I'm sorry, I'm having annoying messages pop up. Maxwell, are you with us? The lazy programmer.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was lost for a while. I'm not sure why, but
Okay.
I thought I was on the call actually.
Okay. I'll hand over to you. Let me just show them how to install Ubuntu via the command line.
Oh, they are still yet to install Ubuntu.
Yeah, some of them. So just run WSL -- install. This is the command you need. WSL -- install. And you allow it to load. Now it's already installed on my PC. I'll drop this command. Now you see Ubuntu is already installed on my PC. So I'll just drop this command on the group chat so you'll be able to go over it at your earliest convenience. So Maxwell, over to you. Let me drop this in the group chat.
Okay. Sorry about that. I was lost in the call. I didn't realize.
You.
Say again. Was someone saying something?
I heard someone trying to ask a question.
Please come again with how to install Ubuntu. How to install Ubuntu. Come again with it.
Okay, I'll paste it on the group chat. Just go to the topic called discussions and I'll put the steps there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm not sure where you guys lost me at, but then I think I would recap what I was saying to basically no one. Okay, so I'm saying that we are going to see how we install the VI and then the Emacs together. So we first do the installation before we get into the usage of both editors one at a time. So first of all, before I see most of you are now trying to install the Linux system, which would be but anyway, the video will be recorded, so you can always go back to do this when needed. So to install the VI, we normally use Vim now. VI and Vim are basically like brothers or like the same thing, just that Vim is an improved version of VI. So first we install Vim using the command, we call it sudo apt install, let me say Vim, right? So sudo apt install Vim. This is the command you will use to install the VI editor on your Linux system. If you're already using Git Bash, it should have come with the installation whilst you are installing it. Right. So after we do this, then we press the -y so that it will say yes to any questions that we are asked. Okay. So if you have not installed it on your machine already, you would have to install it. So when I press the enter key, it would ask me of my password. I'll enter the password, then I'll continue. What you should know is that the password will not show up. So when you're typing the password, it wouldn't show like the way you'll be seeing the dots moving over there, but then just type it and press the enter key. So I'll type the password, press the enter key. On my system, it is already installed. So it tells me that Git is already, Vim is already installed. So I don't have to install it. But then on your system, it would go ahead to install it. Okay. So with Vim installed, we go ahead to install the Emacs as well. So Vim is installed, sudo apt install Vim --y. So now the next thing we do is also do sudo snap. So with a Vim, we use a package manager called apt, but with the Emacs, we use another package manager called snap. You don't have to worry about these things. The command is this is how we install them. So sudo snap install Emacs. Then we use this as well. So we say sudo snap install Emacs -- classic. Okay, so when you run this command, it will go ahead to install the Emacs editor on your machine. Okay, so that is how you install that as well. But on my system, they are both installed, so I wouldn't have to worry about that. So just in case, if you want to know whether it is already installed, you can maybe type something like which Vim, right? So like a which command will show you where it is installed, something like that, right? So then also when I do which Emacs, it will show me which location Emacs is installed. Okay, so with that out of the way, since we all can install VI and Emacs now, I'm sure that by now we should have at least VI installed. So we will start with VI first, then we go to Emacs. So the first thing that we have to do is enter the command called VI or Vim. Okay, so now if you enter VI or Vim, it is about the same thing, unless you're on a very old system which uses the original VI. But if you install the Vim that we just installed, you are going to get a much improved version of the VI. So that's why we needed to install the Vim, right? That one is more improved. It's for your own good. So we can type Vim, right? Then it opens us up to this environment where we can type our text, right? So this is not very much like the normal thing that we are used to seeing or to be doing, right? It is not like Notepad, it is not like Microsoft Word or Google Docs or anything similar to what we are used to. But that is how we normally type things from the command line, and at times this is all you would have. You wouldn't have VS Code, you wouldn't have Atom, you wouldn't have Sublime Text, you wouldn't have any of those things. Mostly when we are working with servers, this is all we have to use, and that is why it's important that you know how to use at least one of these things. So the VI, it has two important modes which you should know. It has the command mode and then the insert mode. So the moment we are inside of VI or in Vim, it is basically in the command mode, and we can't type anything until we tell it to do something. So the command mode allows us to enter commands. Okay, so if you wanted to type something at this point, we would have to tell VI how we want to do that. So the command that we use to do that is the I. So we press the I key on our keyboard once, and then we can see right down here that something changes, and then it sets it to insert. So that means that currently we are in the insert mode. Okay, so at this point we can type anything that we want to enter here. Okay, so until we press the I key, we can not type in this text editor. We need to type the I to signal to VI that we want to type at this point. So after we've typed the I, now I can go ahead and then say, let's something like hello world. We are learning VI today, something like that. Right. So now I have finished typing what I want to type. In case you are not seeing these numbers here, don't worry. It is just a setting that I've done on mine, which allows me to do this. Okay, so there are more changes that you can do to the VI editor, just like VS Code in a certain way. That's why you need a Vim. Like the Vim allows you to really do advanced stuff with the editor. Anyway, so now that we've entered the text that we need to enter or we wanted to enter, we would have to maybe save the file to something, or save to a file, or do something to this file, right? Again, we don't have the normal MS Word Control S or the F12 key to save us or those things, right? We have to again go to the command mode and then tell VI that, okay, now I'm done with the work, I need to save it. So how we do that again is we press the escape key. So anytime we are in the insert mode, we have to press the escape key to get out of the insert mode. So like I said, there are two modes with VI. We have the insert mode, and then we have the command mode. Anytime we are in the insert mode and we want to make VI do something, then we have to come out of the insert mode into the command mode before we can ask it to do something. Okay, so at this point, we want to save the file with a name. Okay, remember that when we were opening Vim, we just typed Vim. We didn't give it any file name or anything of that sort. So now we have to save it with a file name or a name. Okay, so how we do that? VI or Vim uses this conversion or this convention. So we type the colon, right? So after we are in the command mode, we press the colon on our keyboard and then the command starts. So with this, we type the W, which stands for write. Okay. So we want to write this content, the hello world we are learning VI today, into a file. Okay. So the name of the file is what we are going to type. So let's just say I'll name this file hello.txt. Okay. So I name this file hello.txt, but remember I use colon W hello.txt. So I have written a file and I'm naming it with this. Okay, so I press the enter key and then it tells me that hello.txt has been written, and then these are the number of lines that I wrote, 2 lines and then 40 characters. Okay, so this is how we basically type in the VI editor. We tell it to go into the insert mode using the I key to go into the insert mode. There are other ways to get into the insert mode, which we will get to. And then anytime we have to get come out of the insert mode, we have to press the escape key to come out and then into the command mode. After we do that, now we can enter commands or give VI commands to execute. And we start that by the colon key. We press the colon and then we enter the action we want to have happen. Okay, so at this point, I hope we all have been able to create the VI file or the text file, enter some text, and then have been also able to name it with a file name. Have we all been able to do that at this point? Are we okay at up until now? Is everyone okay up to this point? Okay, I'll take that as a yes, because no one is
I don't think you should take that as a yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now with the text now entered, we would have to go ahead and then maybe exit. You see, normally in our normal thing, we enter text, we go from one point to the other, and then we have to close from there. Maybe we can use the this icon over here to close it or something like that. But here we are in the shell. Okay, so when we close it this way, we have gotten out of the shell or we've closed the shell altogether. But that's not what we are trying to do. We want to close VI, not the shell. Okay. And this is one of the things that really trip people up. They are so annoyed when they get to VI for the very first time. So thankfully you are here. So again, whenever you want to tell VI to do something other than text, you have to be in the command mode. So again, you would press the
Can we all hear him? Okay, I think it's off. Is off now. He most likely got a call. So let's do a recap of what he said. Let me share my screen now. Let's just do a recap of what he said. So basically, this is my Vim. Okay, let me just quickly exit it. Let me just do command and quit. Sorry. Command quit. Okay, sorry about that. It's already on. No, right, insertion. Yeah, sorry. In command, yep, in command W. All right. I just saved that file. So command with. All right. So basically, we are trying to use Vim for the very first time. We are trying to use Vim for the very first time, and using Vim for the very first time, it can be a bit tricky. So how do we go about it? After installing Vim on our virtual box, either on Oracle VirtualBox, where we have our Linux distribution, or either on Windows, where we installed Ubuntu, we can go over to run this command VIM. This is how you call Vim. Now, Vim is just the very first command line editor we are going to talk about.
Hello,
so Vim is
sorry.
different from Emacs. Now, calling Vim, we just need to specify and say VIM, and it
I need
will
to ask
open
a
this
question.
terminal for us. Now, we are in Vim now. Everything we do here will be recorded, will be saved, and it's just the same thing as you using Visual Studio Code or any other editor. The only difference between this and Visual Studio Code and any other graphical editor is due to the fact that Vim or command line editors, they allow you to be able to perform things much faster, to be able to save files. Now, if we followed along when Maxwell was saving the file hello world or hello.txt, he literally just used the command :W, a space, and the name of the file. He hit enter and it was saved. But in a graphical based code editor, we have to click on file or we have to click on Control Save. Now, that is not the only difference. You can also navigate to any line of code using shortcuts. That's all Vim is about. It's about shortcuts. Now, let us do the first thing he did. He created a file and he told us that the very first thing we see when we enter Vim is this terminal. And this terminal, it will show us here that there is nothing here and that we are in command mode. It has two modes, the command mode and the insert mode. Now, if we try to type, you see there is nothing to type. I can only input commands. So how will I be able to start typing on Vim? That is where you click your eye. If you want to start inserting, you want to start typing, you have to click I. So you click I and you see at the bottom here, insert, meaning you can start typing. Now let me go back. To go back to command mode or to run any command, you just simply click your escape key. Now I've clicked my escape key and of course I'm in insert mode. I'm supposed to write something and then save that file. So let me just write a file. Let me say this is my first file in Vim. And of course, we all know to go to the next line, we just hit our enter key, and then we say, "Hope you save successfully." All right. Now we have a file, and it has two lines. This is our first file. How do we save this? We save this first. Remember, we want to run a command, and to run a command, we have to notify Vim, or we have to tell Vim that we want to run a command. Because if you should type semicolon here, you see that it will appear on the terminal. It will not appear here. So we have to tell it that we want to run a command. We simply press our escape key. Now, I just press the escape key and you can see that the insert command has left, meaning we are now in command mode. So if I should press my semicolon, my double colon now, you can see now that it has appeared there. And then the shortcut is W. Now you just say your colon, then W, then you give it a space, and then you name it the file. Let's just say save this .txt. This is the name of the file, and then you hit enter. Now, if it saves successfully, it will tell you down that you've saved 2 lines of code and it's 558 bytes. The size of that code is 58 bytes, or the size of that file is 58 bytes. Now, we have successfully written our first file and we have successfully saved it. Now, how do we see this file? Remember, we are on a Linux operating system. We are not in Windows, where we just navigate and double click on the file. Simple. Now, remember, we are still in Vim, and he also taught us how to exit Vim. We are still in Vim, and to exit Vim, we do not have any normal means of exiting it, like clicking close or clicking the escape key. You see that escape key only switches back to command mode. It takes you out from the set mode and into command mode. So how do we escape, or how do we quit Vim? Now, this particular part is really, really important because a lot of newbies or a lot of people do not know how to exit Vim. It's a very common problem. During our last session, I talked about this actually. I went to Stack Overflow and just gave you an insight as to how many questions were asked related to exiting Vim. And you can see a lot of people ask this question: how do I exit Vim? How do I exit Vim? Because obviously, if I close the terminal and I run it again, Vim will load again because it has not been exited. You can do that simply by running your colon, and then you say quit, and then you hit exit, and you say I'm out of Vim. I'm back in my terminal. I've successfully exited Vim. Now, I created some file, and how do I see the files I created? Remember our terminal, our Linux terminal, lscd, mkdir, and we know that ls is used to list all the items in a correct directory. So we just run ls, and you can see the file we created, savedis.txt. It was saved here. And you see the previous file we created, hello.txt. Now, this is an example of how you can use Vim to create a file. So now, before we proceed any further, let me quickly check if he's back. Maxwell, I don't think he's with us. So now let's ask questions. Let's open the floor to questions. Any questions on what we just did?
Hello.
Any questions?
Hello.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Please speak out.
Hello.
Let me see if
Hello?
it's my...
Hello. Can you hear me? Good evening.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, my name is Pascal. Yeah, I appreciate your effort so much, sir. Now, I use a HP Core i3 system. What are the basic steps for someone that wants to begin practicing? Like, how do I download from? Because it kind of seems a little complicated. I'm delving into tech, so pardon my question as if I'm taking you back. I'm so sorry.
All right. That's actually a fine question. And I believe the majority of us are just saying this for the first time. Am I right? Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah. I believe majority of us are saying this for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay. So we asked earlier if everyone have Vim or what's it called? Ubuntu installed on their PC, and it seems not all of us have it. So should we just quickly run a brief tutorial on installing Vim?
And every other operating system we need to have on our laptops.
So as time goes on, we'll talk about maybe others along the way. But right now, we're specifically talking about our command line editors and obviously our Linux operating system. Okay, so I'll show you how to. Yes, Eminence, there will be a recording of today's session. And for those asking how to exit Vim, just click, press your colon key. Remember, you have to be on your command, on command state. Just your colon and QUIT, colon and quit. Then you hit enter to quit or exit Vim. Back to what we're saying, trying to install Ubuntu. The first step, of course, before running this, because Vim will not install on your Windows. you cannot run this in your terminal, in your Windows terminal. You have to first install a Linux-based operating system on your terminal. And I believe all of us know how to do it, right? We followed along the tutorial. Yeah, aside from Pascal, does everyone here know how to install Ubuntu on their Windows?
Oh. Yeah.
Okay, T-Tech, that's one. At this point, I believe every one of us should comment so we know we are flowing together.
Please comment, oh, please comment.
No, please repeat the process.
Okay, all right. Let me share my screen again. So basically, we are trying to install, first of all, we're trying to install our Linux-based operating system. And installing a Linux-based, yeah, if you can't unmute, you can make use of the chat. I'll most definitely see your message and know if you have or if you have not. So we're trying to install, want to install Vim. Or rather, I want to install a Linux operating system. And the first step, obviously, will be to go to our Windows command prompt or Windows run, and then we'll type in CMD, or we can also search it from our search box. Now, over here, we just type the command WSL double, yeah, this minus sign or your dash, then install. This is the command. Can we all see this? Is this clear enough?
Not really.
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can single that out. Okay. So this is the command, WSL dash install. This is the command used to install Ubuntu on Windows. Now you hit enter. You wait for it to load. And it will start the installation process. Because I've already installed it, it will tell me Ubuntu is already installed. And it just launched Ubuntu for me. It just launched it for me because it's currently installed. So that is just the step. That is how you launch, or that is how you install it.
Sorry, please. I have an error code here.
While installing it. Now, most definitely, the error code you might have is if VTX virtualization technology is not enabled for your PC. Is that the error you have?
No.
Okay, tell us the error.
The first time you gave the step, I was trying to install it, and then my network went down.
Okay.
So now I'm trying to reinstall it again, and it's not working. It's giving me an error code. But then it was actually installing to an extent.
What is the error message you got?
WSL/install distro /0x800722.
Okay, no error message, just that error code.
Yes, just the error code.
You take a screenshot or a picture of your terminal and drop it on the group chat so we can see and advise further.
Okay.
All right. So has everyone installed this on their PC?
So let me go back again, sir. I went to the start option button on my system. I searched for Windows system and I went to command prompt. From command prompt, I clicked on it. Right?
Okay. Yes.
So I'm seeing a page like what you have on your screen here, sir. There's Microsoft Windows version 10.0.
Yeah.
190453208.
Yeah. Can you okay, yes, I'm here now. You can see something like this there, right? On your PC.
Yes, I can see C user /HP.
Right.
That's
yeah. So in the next line after the greater than sign, it should be like this, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it's clicking.
All right. Just type WSL.
WSL.
Yes. then minus minus. Let me just use that word minus minus so you understand. Minus minus. I believe you know the minus key or the dash.
Sorry, please hold on. WSL minus minus. Okay.
Yes, make sure to give it a space before the first minus. WSL, a space, then minus minus.
Okay.
Then INSTALL, install.
I just did that, sir.
Then click enter.
It's loading.
All right. So while it loads, that is just how you install that on your PC. That is how you install Vim. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, a message just popped up on my laptop, and it says, "Do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device?"
Yes.
Microsoft Windows.
Yes. Click yes.
Okay. All right. The requested operation requires evaluation. That's what it's saying on my system.
It says the requested operation requires evaluation.
Yes, and it's showing me an installing. It shows installing virtual machine platform. That's what it's saying on my system now.
Okay. So it's installing. It's installing. Just give it some time. Now, after installation, you have to reboot your PC. So just allow it to install. And
okay, sir.
keep your data and internet connection steady.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, any other question? Or has everyone installed this or run this command?
I have a question, please.
Pascal.
No, Mr. Peter is asking.
Okay. All right. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, sir. I was asking that when I run a sudo apt install on my terminal without running the sudo apt update command, I receive an error. Is it an issue with me, or that is also the issue with others?
It's an error. Sorry, I can barely hear you.
Yeah, I received an error when I ran a sudo apt install Vim without running sudo apt update. So I was
Okay.
Is it an issue with everyone?
Okay, so you received an error when trying to install Vim with a sudo apt install Vim, right?
Yes. Then after running sudo apt update first, then I ran sudo apt install, then it has installed. So I was wondering what was the cause of that.
Okay. Hold that question, Mr. Peter. I think Maxwell is with us now. Let's just hand over. Maxwell, did you get that question?
Before you go, please.
Not very well. The line wasn't correct.
Okay, can I go on?
Yeah. Ask your question.
Okay, not a question, just like sharing a concern. On my system now, it's saying, I'm not trying to read the messages I'm seeing on my system. It says installing virtual machine platform. Virtual machine platform has been installed. Installing Windows subsystem for Linux. Windows subsystem for Linux has been installed. Okay.
Okay. Are you back to your normal terminal and the cursor is blinking? Are you there now, or is it still loading?
No, it's Windows subsystem for Linux is installing.
Okay, just allow everything to install successfully.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Peter. Okay. Maxwell, let me just repeat the question. He said that he first run apt update or apt upgrade to upgrade his Ubuntu, his Linux operating system, and then after which he tried installing Vim, but he got an error. So that was his question initially, how to go about that. So.
Okay, so the line at my point is a little bit bad, but then if I heard you correctly, say that he was trying to install an update, but then he got an error.
Yes.
Yeah. Which error did you get?
Okay, I don't think you can hear me right now, Mr. Maxwell.
I didn't get it.
Okay.
The network.
What I was
If
saying
you could
is that
repeat.
at first I ran a sudo apt install without running sudo apt update. I ran sudo apt install vim. Then I received an error in the message that they sent me. It wasn't able to get installed. So I went back and I ran sudo apt update. It updated, then I ran sudo apt install vim, and vim has installed successfully. So I was just trying to ask, is that an error specific to me or it is for everyone?
Okay, so to the best of what I heard, you're saying that you're trying to install VI, and then when you're trying to install it, it didn't happen. So you had to do an update before that. Sorry, but my network has been is very bad today. I don't know. It keeps reconnecting. So when you start talking, then I lose. But then if someone had it, maybe, or you could repeat again. Sorry, or maybe you could also send a screenshot of what you are saying so that it could help make it easier.
The problem with a screenshot is my PC is now off, the battery is down, so I'm using the phone. I can't send a screenshot, but we can move on from that. It's not a very big one. We can continue with the discussion.
Okay, but if you could also maybe send part of the error that you are talking about so that I can help from there. But I mean, there's a possibility that if you're trying to install something on your system and then it hasn't been updated, the sources which it would use to install it are not current. So you would have to do like the sudo apt update to refresh that memory or that sources that is used to install things, right? So after you do that, then you can rerun the command to install the program that you were trying to install previously. Right? I don't know if that was a specific question you were asking, but then I kept getting reconnected, so I didn't really catch the whole question. But you can always ask it when it is okay.
Yes, please. Yeah, thank you very much. That answers the question.
Okay. So at this point, I'm not very sure where I got to before my network was taken away from me. So, and I see most people also don't have the VI installed, which is making things a little bit more harder to continue. So, I don't know. Okay, so
yeah, sorry to interrupt. I think basically you can just start from exiting Vim. While you were gone, I explained up to that point.
All right. Okay. I
have an error message. Hello, class.
Yeah, please go ahead with your question.
I don't understand. I have an error message at 42%, and it just showed me the same thing it showed me the first time before I clicked on the dash stuff. It stopped at an error message on my system. An error message. 0x80D03805 42%. It just stopped there, and it just brought back another C/user/HP with the greater than sign.
It would be easier if you took a screenshot and then you show that. But with the way things are, I would have wished everyone had installed it before. That's why we I think today some were asking how to install it. So like if you had installed it earlier, it would have made things much easier. And with the way this thing too is now, if you can't follow or you don't follow it now, it makes it a little.
Can you see my system?
Say again.
Can you see my system, please?
Like you.
Yes, Pastor. I can see your system, and currently I think there was an error installing it halfway. It's telling you that the subsystem for Linux has been installed. So at this point, restart your system and click your Windows menu key, and you should see Ubuntu. If you can't see, just type UBUNTU. So at this point, restart your system.
Should I search Ubuntu now?
No, restart before you search. Restart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Restart.
Probably this session would be more of installing than actual.
I think we'll prepare a separate tutorial video on how to install it for those that are yet to install it. We'll prepare a video for installing Ubuntu, a video for installing Vim, so that we might not miss out on today's topic. So if you have not installed it or you are getting an error message, so just please wait for that video. When it's out, we'll drop the link to the video and you can watch and install it.
Please, are there links to Vim also?
Stop screen sharing now. Okay, thank you.
What was the question?
If there was a link to Vim, to download Vim.
If you are on a Linux system, how you install it is with the command we showed in the beginning. Okay, that is the easiest way to get it on your Linux system. Yeah. So I would recommend or suggest that if you do not have a Linux system and you're on a Windows machine, I think the best thing to do is to get the Linux system that was prepared, so that you wouldn't have to go through all these problems. Because anytime you have to do this and you have to be installing and having issues, it would not help all of us. Okay, so better find time and then we will post that link, and there are steps on how to install it. But if you are on Windows, then you can set it up the way that it has to be. Then you can set it up before the session, or you can set it up after the session. Because the whole session will be about the installation, which wouldn't be a very good use of our time. So with that out of the way, if anyone is here to install Ubuntu on your machine or anything at all, please try and then reach out earlier in the day so that we can set those things up before the session starts. All right. So like Clarkson was saying, you guys were able to catch up onto the part where we exit VI. Okay, so before we exited, I showed you the command called the W, which is used to write or to save files. And then we named the file hello.txt, and then that was what we did. But previously it was shorter than this. But whilst I was disconnected, I thought I was connected, so I thought I was teaching someone. Anyway, more text here. To exit VI, again, you have to be in the command mode. So always you have to press the escape key to be in the command mode to do that. Okay, so press the escape key, then you press the key, then the Q key, right? So you always make sure that you are out of the insert mode by pressing the escape key. Then once you are in the command mode, you press the colon followed by a Q, which stands for quit or to close. Anyway, that makes sense to you. So once we are done with that, then we press the enter key, and then that does it for us. So previously we entered Vim alone just like this, Vim, right? But then at the top you can see that I have Vim hello.txt. Okay, so here what has happened is that I'm actually opening Vim with a file. So Vim will open with the contents in this file. Okay, so we can either enter Vim by itself or give it a name of a file so that it will enter with that. Whether the file has content in it or doesn't have content in it, we can do that. Thankfully, this one already has content. So let's continue from this part. Previously, I mentioned that you can start typing with the I key. Okay, so with the I, this is what happens. When you press the I, it puts you in the insert mode, all right, but then it starts to type from the left side of the cursor. So currently the cursor is on S, but then when I start to type, it will start typing from the left side of where the cursor is, or before S. So I'll type something like this. You see, so it starts to type from where the cursor is, or to the left side of the cursor when I press the I key. Okay, so I would delete all of this. This is normal deletion. Backspace. Okay, we'll do more of the deletions. You see how that works. So now I'll go back to the command mode by pressing the escape key. So now I'm back to where I was previously. So I mentioned that if you press the I key, it would put you to the left side, or the cursor will start typing, or your insertion will start from the left side of the cursor. You also have the A. Okay, so the A, what it does is, think about it as append. What it does is that it will start to type from the right side of the cursor. So here, when I press the A key, see how the cursor moved. The cursor moved one letter. Okay, so now I'll start to type from where the cursor is. Okay, so the same way it will be like this. But the most important part I want you to take from here is that when I press the I, the cursor remains where it is, to the left side of the wherever that it is. But then when I press the A, the cursor moves one. So the append is going to always start from the cursor's last location plus one, if that makes sense. So the append would always start in front of wherever the cursor was before it was pressed. Okay, so now you've seen the I, the small I, and then the small A. The small I will start insertion from the left side. The A will start insertion from the right side of the cursor. We also have the capital versions of these letters as well. So let's say, for example, I'm somewhere within the line over here. I'm somewhere over here, but then I want to start typing something from the starting point of this line. So instead of the start here, I want to maybe change something or add more things to this line. So instead of going all the way with my mouse or with my arrow keys to that point, I'll just press the shift and the I. So either you can say capital I or shift I, anyone that makes sense. Shift I will take the cursor from wherever it is to the left side or to the very beginning of the line, and then it will start typing from the left. So the behavior is the same, right? Just that now with the shift attached, it will move from wherever it is to the beginning of the current line. Okay, so that is what the shift I will do. Wherever the cursor is, it will move it all the way to the beginning of the file to start typing. So the same thing is true for the A. You also have the capital A or the shift A. And realize that anytime I'm going to type the I or the shift I always press the escape key to come out of the insert mode into the command mode. If you do this while you're in the insert mode, it will enter it as text. Okay, and you don't want that. So anytime you want VI to do something that is an operation, you'd have to come out of the insert mode into the command mode before you do that. So we have the same thing for the small a that will start inserting from the right side. So with that, when we do the shift A, this is what it does. It moves the cursor from wherever it is to the end of that line, or to the right side, to the rightmost side of that line, which is obviously the end of that line. Then it starts to insert from that side. Okay, so the shift I will insert from the beginning of the line. The shift A will insert from the end of the line. Hopefully that makes sense. The small I will insert from the left side of the cursor. The A, small a, will insert from the right side of the cursor. And then the shift I will start from the beginning, wherever it is. It will move the cursor to the beginning of the line, of that current line, and then start to insert things over there. And then the shift A, which is the capital A, will move to the end of that line and then put you in the insert mode. Are we all okay up until this point? Is there any questions about what each one of these is doing up to now? Are we okay? Is everyone okay?
Yes, go on.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So now sometimes we don't necessarily need to start typing from the beginning or the end. Sometimes we just need a new line. Okay. So we just want start typing on a new line. So for instance, what I'll do so that it is more clearer is this. I have deleted that line. Don't worry about it. We see how I added that soon. So now I have lines 1, 2, 3, right? So now I know that if I want to type, I can press the A to start typing from the right side, or the I to start typing from the left side, or shift I to move to the beginning, or shift A to move to the end and start typing. But then this time around, what I want to do is to start typing on the line 2. But then if you start on the first line, all right. So the manual way that I will do that is to first go into insert mode. I press the A and I press the enter key like this. That is 2 steps, which is not a very good thing, right? So I'll clear this and then move out of the insert mode. Okay. So how we do that is with the letter O. All right. So the O will move or will create a new line for us to start typing. A new line beneath the current line that we are on. So when I press the O this way, you see that it puts a new line there, or it moves the cursor to a new line and then shifts the rest of the lines down. So the O does that. It moves the cursor to a new line and then shifts the text or the lines below. Okay, so wherever the cursor is, it will move it from there to a new line, and then we can start typing from that point. Okay, so again, that is how we do that. You may be thinking, what about if I'm on, let's say I am on line 4 over here. So when I'm moving, I use the arrow key on the keyboard. Okay, so the arrow keys on the keyboard will do. there are other ways to also move over there. There's a J, the K, and those numbers. Then we will stick to the arrow keys for simplicity. So let's say that I am on line 4, okay, but then I want to start typing on line 3, but then I don't want to start typing where this is a line is. I want this is a line to shift up, right? So this time I don't want a like to move a line below. I want to have a new line above the current line I am on. And you may be thinking, what about the shift O or the capital O of this O? What does it do? And if you thought that, that's a good thought. Okay, so when I press the shift O, see that now it moves the current line below, and then it creates a line on top of that. Okay, so the small o will create a line, or will put the cursor on a new line beneath the current line, and then the shift O or the capital O will create or move the cursor to a new line above the current line on which that command was executed on. Okay, so we've seen a few things here: the I, the A, the smaller, and then the capital. We've also seen the O, the small, and then the capital. So at this point, we have seen few things that has to do with VI. Okay, so this is how we normally move around things, and this is all about how we start to type things or to insert things. So these are the few ways to get into the insert mode. Whether I want to start typing from the left side, or I want to start typing from the right side, or I want to start typing from the far end or the far left, or on a new line, or like a new line before or after. Anyone that you choose, that is also fine. Okay, so there are multiple ways that you can get to do that, but these are the basics. There's also the C character that you can type, but for now we will stick to this one. Okay, so now we've seen how to create a file with VI, exit VI, and then do a few things. But then let's say we didn't realize what we were doing, and then we made mistakes. We did something wrong, and we want to undo, right? We don't see any Control Z over here or something like that. All right, so the last change I did was create a new line over here. So if I want to undo this action, I just press the U key. Okay, so when I press the letter U, that's what it does. It will undo an action. Okay, so to undo an action in Vim or VI, you press the U. And you must be in command mode to do this. All right. So all the commands that we are saying in VI, you have to be in the command mode. If you are in the insert mode and then you do that, let me just show what will happen. If I press the I to insert something, and then I say the U, it is just type it as a literal or as a character or as a letter. It wouldn't do anything. So I have to be outside of the insert mode to do that. Okay, so now that we know how to do or to undo, what if we actually made a mistake and want to redo this action? Okay, so how we do that is by using the Control R. Okay, so Control R, and it looks like there's no redo that I can, or there's nothing that I've undone that I can redo because of what I just did. Okay, so here's what happened. I press the undo for a few times, and then you see that it takes me back to a certain point in time, and then it shows me when this change. Okay, so it is sort of taking me back in time to when this change was made. All right, so I see that I made a change at this time, and then it has taken me back all the way there. So though we may be in different time zones, my time was 8:10, but then currently when you look up, or my time currently is 8:15, but then this change was made at this time. So I've been able to go back in time, let's say 5 minutes or 6 minutes, if you will. So you've seen how to insert, to undo, and now if you want to redo an action, would have to press the Control and then the R. Okay, so Control R is our redo option or our redo command. U will do the undo, Control R will do the redo. Okay. So now let's move past a few of these things and then let's get into the movement around how I would do things. You see, but then most of these things I would prefer if you are able to check them out as well. There are lots of cheat sheets that we're giving out sometimes. So this is what we can do. We have multiple lines here. So let's say we are trying to move around. We can use our arrow keys back and forth, top down, in any way that we want to. But then sometimes it is much easier to move between words than letters like this. We can move like this, like 111, but then that wouldn't be a very good use of our hands actually. But if you want to move word by word, there are ways that we do that. Right? We can use the W to do that, like the normal W, the small W, to move word from word or word to word. And then there's also the opposite, which is the B, small b, to go back. Okay, so that would do the same thing for us to go back each word. Okay, so for these movement things, I would like to leave that up to you to check more of that out. Okay, but the ones that we will be really using, or you would have to get used to, is how to save a file and maybe not save a file when you make a mistake to it or something like that. But just to do a few before we leave the movements and things and then get to creating some files with VI and seeing how we can break or fix things. Now, let's say I am somewhere here on this file. So I'll just create, or I'll open a very large file so that you can see what I'm trying to say, so that it is much more convenient for us to look at. This file is not very big for us. So here I want to do something called, I want to save the file and then I want to exit the file at the same time. So I can press the W key to write the file and then to save the file. Personally, my favorite is to do :X. It does the same thing. It will save the file and then it will exit. The other thing that you can do is you can press Q and then an exclamation mark. That means quit this file and don't save any changes. Okay, so I've shown you the normal W, which saves the file, but then it doesn't close the VI editor. And then we also saw the Q, which would quit or exit VI so long as we've not made any changes. But if you've made a change that you don't want to save, then you press the Q with an exclamation mark. Or if you want to save and then quit at the same time, then you press the W key. But then I normally like to use the X to do that, to do the W key action altogether as one. So I want to write and then quit. So either W key or X will do the same thing. So for our usage right now, I'll use the W key, but then if you see me using the WX, that's what it does. So that is what just a minute. So now what I want us to do is to do a few more things, how to navigate around the VI editor much better. Okay, so I would do a copy of a file so that we can make changes to it. Okay, so you really don't have to worry about this at this point. I'm sure some of you have already seen how to do this one, right? So I just copied a file which is large enough so that we can be talking about it, so that we can actually make changes to it and then not worry about it. Okay, so here we are going to do some very few things. This file is a little long. It has 35 lines, and well, it's fairly long. So here, what I want us to do is to delete some things and view some things and go along with that. So aside entering things or going to the insert mode, we can make changes to the file even before entering it. Okay, so what we can do is that we can delete files, we can delete lines. And how we delete lines is using multiple things. You can delete a single character by using
Sorry
the
to
X.
interrupt.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt, Maxo. I think this is looking cryptic for most of us who have no previous knowledge, like this particular file and the content inside. Do you have any other simpler one with just simpler text in it? Because someone might see this and think it's actually a code or something that we are working with.
I didn't get the question.
Okay, right. So
that's necessary. I don't think it's necessary. We can continue with the same file. He's trying to say this file might look verbose for somebody that would join later. For this Hebrew so that's what I was trying to say. If you have a different file, I honestly don't have a problem.
Frankly, I didn't hear anything. I don't know why. Either it's my network or some other like when you are talking, I don't know if it's the same thing that you hear when I speak, but I can
okay,
barely hear
let me take it slowly so you hear me. The file currently being edited on Vim right now, right?
Right.
It might look confusing or cryptic, or as Daniel mentioned, verbose for people who have no previous knowledge about programming. They might think that we are actually going to type all this code or we are going to get something like this. So my question is, do you have any other file you can copy and a file that's basically simple to understand, like with text, not just commands or cryptic messages?
Okay, so here's the thing. You see, that's why it would have been good if we were all on the Linux system, so that if I do something at one point, it would be the same for everyone. But then this file that I actually copied is on the Linux system itself. So if you're on a Linux system, you should be able to do cp, like to copy. You follow /etc/eaa wd, and then you just use the dots. So cp space /etc/pass/wd space dots. Okay, so what I just did was to copy a file somewhere to this current directory. Okay, and then I open that file. So this file is not from an external source. It is right on the Linux system. Right. So then after I copied this and I open this with VI, is that the issue?
Just go ahead. Just go ahead.
Right. Okay. So what I was trying to say is that we have this file that we just copied with this command here. So when I open this with VI, we can make some small changes to it without worrying about breaking anything. So if you are on a Linux system or any system that has this file, you should be able to make the same changes. Or if you have any other file that you can open on Vim or VI, go ahead and then do that. But this is a normal file. That's why I made us to do this. So now I was saying that we can delete lines or letters by using the character X or the letter X. All right. So what the X does is that it will delete the letter at the current position of the cursor. So when I press X at this point, you can see that the cursor is on the R. So what happens is when I press the X, it removes the R. If I press this for some time, it does the same thing as if I was pressing the backspace key. In case maybe I made a mistake, I can always use the U key to bring them back. All right, so I press the U key until all of them are back. Okay, so like I was saying, you can use the X key, letter X, as in xylophone X. So you can use that to delete letters. Okay, so if I press, let's say I am on this line here, then I start pressing the X, it will start removing from where the cursor is, and then it will always remove the letter that the cursor is on. So when I continue doing this, it will delete that letter. All right. But sometimes we want to delete an entire line, right? To delete the entire line, how we do that is by using the command called the command dd. Okay. So dd would delete or cut. So the dd command is the same for deletion and then for cutting. Okay, so I press dd as in double D, right? So double D would delete the line. At the same time, it also cuts it, right? So then we'll get into that another time or soon. So whenever I press the DD, I'm able to delete an entire line, and I don't have to do one by one deletion, which is not very good in case we want to delete a whole line. Okay, so another thing that we can do with the DD or with the Linux or the VI is that we can delete up onto a certain word, or maybe we can delete maybe a certain number of words instead of the whole line. So let's say that I want to delete only the bin. Okay, so the bin is like 3 letters, right? So what I can do is I can tell it that, okay, VI, now what I want you to do is to delete only up to 3 letters or to 3 words. Okay, so it is in how we would tell it to what we would tell it to do is what it will do. So now what I can do is I can type a D, a number, and then a W. Okay, so when I do what I'm saying, like the D, the 3, so bin is 3 letters. All right, so I type the D, the 3, and then a W. So what this did was that it would delete 3 characters. All right. Hopefully, I'm not confusing anybody. So you saw me use the DD to delete an entire line, and now I'm saying that we can use the D or deletion in multiple ways. We can tell it to delete a number of letters instead of just deleting the whole line or deleting just one line, or sorry, one letter at a time. You can delete up onto a certain number of n letters before we stop deleting, or we can delete all the way to the end of that line. Okay, so what I want to do is to delete only up to the bin. So I want to only delete the bin, and
I think it's network issues again. Maxwell, are you with us? Can anyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Okay, that means it is network. Do we understand up to this point?
Okay.
No, not really too. For me, I think I still have to do the recording to better understand.
Sorry, let's take it one at a time. Titek, let's hear from you.
Oh, all right. For me, I didn't really follow. I don't know. It was a bit, bogus. So I think I will still have to go through the recording to better understand it because I'll make a no lie. This one, I have to, I have to watch the recording again to better understand it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's not a problem. Maxwell, your screen is moving, but we can't hear you. Okay. So, yes, currently it might seem a bit hard to process or
Maybe
a bit hard.
Send me a message.
Daniel, did you say something?
Hello, ma'am. Hello? Ma'am, are we pre-recording this video, please? Pre-recording this live and maybe see the video later.
Video is currently being recorded.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Maxwell, are you back? We still can't hear you. Okay. All right. Network. Let's see if we can do a quick summary of what he has just said. So basically, we're talking about VIs. Let me share my screen. Okay. So I believe you all can see my screen, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Queue and then do not save. Okay. Let me clear this all off. Now, basically, what he just did, remember, there was a lot of cryptic messages on his laptop or on his screen just now. It's not actually code, or it's not actually something you see. It's just a file he copied from one directory to another directory. Now, let me show you how he did it. I'm not sure all of us have followed that process. So basically, he said CP, which stands for copy. We are trying to copy a file from one folder to our current directory so that we can work on it using Vim. Now, before then, remember we created a file. We created a file called save text. Let me show you guys. Remember this file we created, save this.txt. When we created it using Vim, right? Remember it?
Yes.
Okay. So now, let's assume we want to work on this file. We want to continue to insert text inside the file. So we'll just simply say VIM and then the name of the file, save this.txt, and we hit enter. Now you see that the file will be opened in Vim and you see everything we typed before. This is my first file in Vim. Hope you save successfully. So this is an example of how you can edit the file with Vim. Now I'm not going to write anything on this file, so let's just quit. All right, we are back here. Now I want to show you how he copied that file from the first directory to the current directory. He copied a file called PASSWD. Now, to copy a file, we know the terminal, or we know the command called cp. So we say cp, then the file path, we have to specify the file path. Now, the file path in Ubuntu is different from the file path in Windows. In Windows file path, you might have the name of your computer / desktop / download / documents. But in this, we have /etc, /etc, then I think, is it bin / PASSWD, the ASSWD. I'm trying to PSSWD. Okay. No search file in directory. Yeah, sorry. I've already copied it here. I've forgotten the path it ran to get it. And it's the same path I copied. I just copied the file. This is basically the file he opened. This one called PASSWD. It is the file he opened. Now let me show you. VIM PASSWD. You can see now it opens all these verbose text for me. So I can actually delete them, edit them, work on them. Say for example, I want to delete this very first line. I want to delete it. I can just click my escape key and press. Who can tell us the command they use to delete it? To delete an entire line. Does anyone remember? I want to delete this entire line. What command can I run to delete it? Okay, now simple. We'll just hit our escape key and then we'll press D, which is DD. You can see that that line has been deleted. And now we have the second line. We want to delete the second line. We also press DD and it will delete. DD, it will delete the third line, and so on. It will keep deleting it. So that is the command for deleting that specific line. So that is basically the use of what's it called? Of Vim. Now let's not dive deep into its usage. Let's just do a recap because we've covered a lot. Let's just do a recap of what we've said so that we can prepare the video and have it uploaded. If you're yet to subscribe to the YouTube channel, please do so you'll be able to get access to these sessions as well as previous recorded sessions. So the link to the YouTube channel is on the group description, and if you need it, I can also send it to you. So let's just do a recap. Let me exit Vim. I won't save my changes. Now I'm on my terminal. We were told to install Vim. So basically, Vim is the command line editor, and we've discussed the difference between Vim and Visual Studio, or the difference between Vim and Notepad in your Windows. Remember, our normal Notepad, it has more easier graphics, and it has a lot of graphics, and it's easier for you to understand what you are doing. Okay. It's easier for you to understand what you are doing. Take, for example, I'm trying to type in my Notepad. Let me just open Notepad. You can see it's easy for me to type. I can simply type. If I want to delete, I'll just highlight it and delete that particular line. So it's really straightforward. But when we're talking about Vim or any other command line interface, we are only making use of our keyboard. We're only making use of our keyboard and our mouse. We are not making use of clicking. We're not even making. We are not clicking. We are just going to be typing all through, making commands and stuff. And to enter Vim, we just simply say Vim, and we are inside Vim. That's creating a new file. We just say Vim. So let me just quit. All right, I've exited Vim. I can create a new file. I can say Vim make.txt, and it will create a file called make.txt for me. So I've created a file called make.txt. If I should exit Vim, and I check my directory, I should see a file called make.txt. Okay, it was saved outside my file, and I didn't even save it. I just created the file called make.txt and I did not save it. Let's try to save it. So vim make.txt. Now we have a file called make.txt. Let's say something in it. Make. Okay, so remember our I, then make file. Let's just call it make file. Then we want to save it, and then we'll say W to save. Now we've just written that. Now let's exit. We can just say Q. We've exit. So if we open, we can see make.txt has been created. I don't think my screen is bright enough. Let's see. Okay, so you can see that make.txt has been created. So that's just an example of how to use Vim to create files, to edit files. Now, I think at this point, this is where we draw the curtain for today's session. Let's not dive too deep, because a lot of us are just hearing about this for the very first time. So this session, like I said, will be available on YouTube. As soon as the session is over, I'll upload it to YouTube so you can have the link and download and watch it anytime you want. And I'll also try to prepare different tutorials on how to install Vim, how to install Ubuntu on your Windows. I'll make tutorials for all this and tutorials explaining their differences. So I'll make these tutorials and I'll drop them as well. So always check the channel for updates. So I'll make all these tutorials where I'll give detailed and plain explanation of all these terms we have just heard of. Vim, command line, what are all these? So I'll make a detailed explanation about all of them individually. So it won't be as if we are jam-packing all knowledge into one video. So let's allow for question at this point now. Any questions or any requests?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, please go ahead.
So these files you're creating, can you also find them in your Windows, like not in this environment, not this Vim environment? Can you find it in your normal file explorer?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. Now, you know that this Ubuntu is practically another operating system. So it is not linked to, if you say ls, you can see that it's not bringing out data from my Windows. It's not bringing out data from my Windows operating system. It is bringing out data from its own operating system, which is Ubuntu. Yes, but if I have git bash, let me show you. Bash is also installed in my PC. Let me share my screen so you see what what I'm talking about. I'm trying to open git bash. Now git bash, unlike Ubuntu, is currently installed on my Windows, and you can see that it is installed on my Windows. How do we know? Let me type in this command ls to see the files inside. Now you can see these are all the files currently in my Windows. You can see pictures, you can see saved games, you can see settle.exe, you can see template, you can see folder, you can see virtual box, you can see videos. These are all folders currently in my Windows. And if I say cd desktop, it will actually go to my desktop folder. And if I list all the items in my desktop, it will bring out all the items in my desktop. So Bash is installed in my Windows. It's making use of my Windows operating system. But Linux, our Ubuntu, is not installed on our Windows. It has its own operating system. So as such, you cannot run those commands there. You can only have files that have been saved in our Ubuntu folder. Yeah, our Ubuntu VirtualBox machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, it's not a question. My Ubuntu just finished installing, and it asked me to enter Unix username.
Okay. Yeah, just give it any custom username you want. Like on my screen, you can see Grim Reaper. That's my username, Grim Reaper X. So you can give it any username you want.
And then after I click enter, I didn't do anything. Is that it?
Yeah, you have to specify your password. Now the password field is always blank. It might seem as if you are not typing, but keep on typing. It's saving it. It does not display your password.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine did not work.
Pascal.
Yes.
You said you reinstalled and it's still not showing anything.
It didn't show anything. I went to the start button. It didn't show anything. I typed search. It didn't show anything.
Sorry. You know, mine was having an error. So what I did was to restart the system and then started the process afresh. So maybe you should try that.
Yeah.
Okay. What do I type now?
Restart and run the command from fresh. Just type the command again.
So what's the command?
WSL space. The command it's on the chat. Just go to the chat and copy it so we have more time to talk about that.
Okay, I didn't see. It's not in the chat.
It's there. Questions, please.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, good evening, and thank you for the lesson. I want to ask: is it on this same Ubuntu that do both Emacs and Shell?
Shell itself is basically the terminal we are working with. This is an example of a shell. This terminal, a shell is a terminal. It's just a way of interacting with our operating system. Now, it is on this same shell or on this same terminal we will install Vim and Emacs. All right. Do we have any other questions?
Question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Daniel, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I noticed you installed Linux before installing Vim. I didn't join this classes, the first class.
You noticed I installed Vim.
Linux.
Okay, you noticed I installed Linux, yeah?
Before installing Vim. So my question is, can Vim be installed on CMD or PowerShell or Windows?
Oh no, Vim cannot be installed on Windows on a Windows terminal. It cannot be installed on a Windows terminal. Hence our reason for installing Ubuntu.
Okay.
Yes.
Can it be installed on terminal on macOS?
Yes, it can run because macOS is a variation of it's a Unix based operating system. So yes, it can be used as well.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. So any other questions?
How do I delete this? And I'm tired, man.
How do you delete what?
Yeah, look at what came up. Is this correct?
I can't see anything. Are you sharing or are you sending it to the group chat?
I'm sharing. Can you see it?
Okay. You have not. Okay. You have not run the command yet. You have not run. You just only run WSL. Okay, don't worry. You have not installed it yet, right? I'm going to send you a link to an already installed Ubuntu operating system. You just have to download it and double click it, and it will just load automatically. It has already been pre-installed. Okay, so don't worry about that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I'll get the link and drop it on the group chat. All right.
All right, thank you.
And yes, so I also make a video on how to do on how to successfully install this as well. So I guess that'll be a lot of videos to prepare. A video to install this, a video to talk about this and that. So I'll do that to be able to make sure everyone understands.
Thank you very much. Well done.
All right, thank you very much as well. Do we have any further questions?
Sorry. I'm trying to create the username, but it looks like it's not allowing me to do so. It's saying please enter a username matching the regular expression configured.
Yes, now currently there are rules. Yeah, there are rules for creating a username. You cannot create a username with a combination of a capital letter and a small letter. For example, let me show you what I mean. If you want to create a username, let me just type it here. If you want to create a username, do not do something like this is my username. Do not use a capital letter. If you want to type it, just use this is my username. Remember, I did not use any space. So just type everything using a small letter. If you want to use capital letter all through, just use capital letter all through.
I use capital letter, the same thing.
Okay, now use small letters all through. Make sure not to put any space.
Okay.
Yeah, do that now. All right, so any other questions? Yeah. I can hear you. So we'll be rounding off. If you just finish installing Ubuntu on your Windows, restart your system.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to upgrade it first. Restart your system, open Ubuntu, and perform an upgrade. Sudo apt get install and sudo apt upgrade -y. Don't worry, I'll type this command. I will type this command separately. Don't worry about that. Just remind me after this session, and I'll send the commands. So we have 6 more minutes before we round up. So quickly, let's ask our questions.
So after installation complete,
yes,
I see everything is completed. So
yeah,
the next thing is to close the terminal and restart my system, right?
Yes. Close the terminal and restart your system.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, any other questions? And also, let's know that there will be a pop quiz tomorrow. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock West African time. We'll have a quiz on what we just discussed. Basically, we'll just have a quiz on introduction to Vim, how to quit Vim, how to install it, and basically everything we talked about. So do well to go back to this video, watch it again. If you are just joining us, watch the video again. It will be available on YouTube, and I'll share the group link. You can download it. If you are having network issues, you can download it so you can always have easy access to it. So that you'll be able to prepare ahead of the quiz, because there's currently a leaderboard. There's a scoreboard.
Where do you get the YouTube link?
you get it on Telegram or on the WhatsApp group chat? Because I can't find it on Telegram.
Sorry, I was having network issues. Yeah, so any questions, any further questions before we call it a day?
How do you get the link to the YouTube group chat? Because I'm currently in search of it. I haven't seen it on the Telegram group chat. No, I might see it on the WhatsApp group
okay.
chat. I think I'm just fixing something.
The link to the YouTube channel is currently on the group description, and I'll paste it. It's currently on the group chat now.
On what?
No, on this particular group chat.
Okay, I'm seeing something concerning Clarkson XDev. Am I correct?
Yes, that is the channel.
Just correct.
Yeah.
So I just completed installing and restarting my system.
Okay.
Yes, so I want to run the code Windows R. Yes, enter, and I think I'm running my Windows PowerShell currently.
Are you trying to open Ubuntu?
I just installed Ubuntu, and yes, the system said I should start it.
If you want to start it, you don't need to go to Windows terminal. You just need to click your menu button and then you type Ubuntu, and then it will pop up.
Okay. Okay. Windows terminal and menu. Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So thank you all once again for joining our session. It was most informative, and again, if this is your first time dealing with Linux or dealing with stuff like this, do not be afraid or do not think this is something you won't be able to understand. Remember, our onboarding session starts August 14. That's exactly 14 days from now. And this is going to be the very first topic we are going to be taught. And they expect us to have knowledge on this. So they won't obviously be teaching us in detail or telling us all this we've just covered. They expect us to have some knowledge about them. So these sessions we are having now is really important because we won't be able to get them if we just relax and wait for our session to start. So please go through all these videos and then participate. As you watch the videos, do the practical yourself. If you are stuck somewhere, reach out to any one of us and we'll be able to help you out. So once again, thank you all. And yeah, the group is open now to further discussions and all. And there'll be background music playing as well. So feel free to listen. But for now, it's good night. And remember, the video will be out soon. And watch the video, prepare for your quiz, prepare for the quiz actually, so you'll be able to fully participate and have a score. All right, thank you.